Good morning, welcome to On the Level Racing channel. And I'm just going to go look back on yesterday's racing at Epsom. Now, going to take a good in-depth look at all the races that we put up. First, we obviously start with the Woodcote Stakes, and I was quite taken with the way Twessel went about the business, and I couldn't believe the drift in the market on the horse. But it was a great ride by Martin Harley. Brought the horse wide. Modern News ran well again. Obviously, he's stepped up from that disappointment at Ascot. But Twessel looks the real deal. It looks a nice horse going forward. A horse that will probably get 7 furlongs in time. But he definitely looks well at 6 furlongs indeed. On to the next race was the Surrey Stakes, which was a safe voyage. Again, I couldn't see the horse getting beaten. Should have a bit more money on it, otherwise, because I think it was just way above the class that was running against in this race. And Jason Hart gave it a perfect ride. On to the 3 o'clock, where we're totally out of luck in this race. Big price winner in Sky Defender. But I think you have to pencil mark or however you want to do it, write it down or ATR it, tracker. But Haydock, it was given no kind of ride from Steve Murphy at all. And he had to make a lot of ground up from the back. And the race was gone. But pretty needed a run, to be honest. Haydock will win a nice handicap. I'm pretty sure on that. On to the... onto the next race, which was obviously the Investec Oaks, and for pure class. Love, just absolutely pure class. O'Brien got it spot on, putting Eniston up there up in the pace. Love just literally blitzed them. She's a very nice filly indeed. And then we had another winner in the Princess Olivia Stakes, which I was glad that a little drift from the market there, 7 to 9, 9 to 1 Summer Romance. Great ride by William Buick. Put in the post, nothing else got in the race. It was just one of those brilliant rides from William Buick. He does have some good rides on the cards at Sandown this afternoon. On to Derby. Now, do we put this down as a farce, or do we put this down as a very, very clever move by Aidan O'Brien? You can't get away to the fact that the guy is the most prolific now trainer and winner of this event. When he sends 3 or 4 horses out in the race and he's outside of wins, people say, "Oh, it's a farce. It's bent. It's we can put up so many excuses for the horses behind." But at the end of the day, it's Serpentine just did the right thing. Went from the front, went around Tattenham Corner, 8 lengths clear, went down the straight and just weren't catching him. That's it. That's the real deal. They haven't got the race. The fractions were wrong by the jockeys behind them. I mean, Kamiko and English City is doing very well. Vatican City and Mogul couldn't get in the race at all, purely on the pace. They all thought he would come back to the field, Serpentine, but just galloped on. That's what you have. You got a horse that won a maiden a week ago and comes to this and wins a Derby. You can't say it's not possible. Can we put a line through the Derby? Probably not, because I just think just some of the jockeys got the fractions wrong. And McNamara rode a cracker. Simple as that. On to the final race. Basically the selection was gone. Missed the break totally. Hataya, and finished a very bad tailed off 30 finished last actually. Never got in the race, Jim Bowles' horse, sadly. It was won by Muntadab, which was the favourite in the race. Roger Fell's horse, and ran out and deserved to win. It's quite annoying really when you put the right horse up last time. It comes back to bite you in the arse. That Elamartalum, that ran well, that finished third. That was their pitching in the closing stages. So we're going to go on to the We go on to the Sandown card. I mean, we are tipping up here from a few cards actually. We've got Doncaster. Sorry, not Doncaster. We're going to go to Haydock. Yeah, so as I say, we're going to go to Sandown. We're going to go to Haydock. There'll be a selection at Cork in Ireland. There'll be a selection from Fairyhouse, and I'm going to go for the two big races, the two Group 1s in Chantilly in France this afternoon. So we'll start off, we're going the Haydock card first, I think. It's just two races, sorry, we're going to cover here. It's a 240, which is the Bet365 Lancashire Oaks, over just shy of 1.5. And you have to be very, very careful with your bets here, because you've got one horse called Manuela de Vega, and you've got Antonio de Vega. Now, it's the actual, the top weight here I actually like in Antonio de Vega, the Ralph Beckett horse. Now, I was quite taken with this run last time out when winning the Pontefract Castle Fillies Stakes, which was a listed event over the extended mile 4 on good ground. And to me, did it very well, winning by half a length going away under Harry Bentley. And I wouldn't be surprised to see his horse come on again. You have to look at Manuela de Vega's form, obviously, especially that beating Fanny Logan in the Pinnacle Stakes over this course and trip back in June, or 7th of June. And I did it the hard way, made all. And that's why, and that was on good to soft ground. So I would definitely expect Manuel de Vega, Ralph Beckett's other horse in the race, with Rob Hornby on board, to probably set the standard here. Can't look away from the filly down the bottom here, Cavaletta. Not many fillies have won this race, but I was very disappointed with her in the Abingdon Filly Stakes, the listed event over a mile and a quarter. When she was beaten 3/4 length to Franconia. Now, she was thereabouts. She made hard work of it. She was, she missed a break. She's very lazy out the stalls. She had to make a lot of work up, and she stayed on well. And she can't be disregarded because like the form now. I mean, she's beaten Frankly Darling this year, who, as we know, finished second in the Oaks to Love yesterday. So that is solid form for Cabaletta. And obviously Dave Egan will take the ride again on Roger Varian's horse. So if we really want to take on these two Beckett horses, I can't see a reason why Roger Varian's horse won't run well here. As I said, not many fillies. In fact, we haven't seen a filly win this race in the last 10 years. And there's no guarantee it's going to happen now. In the price betting here, I mean, Cabinet's in at 3-1, pitching and splitting the two Vegas. And I don't know. She will have to prove that she can beat the boys here, really. And that her tendency to miss the break does concern me. But Haydock's quite a good galloping track, so she have plenty of time to make the ground up, because obviously Manuel de Vega will probably take up the running in this. And she's still well weighted. She's only off a mark of 95, so there is some improvement there to come from her, and especially a step up in trip. So I'm going to give her another. I'll give her another chance here to prove that she is a good filly, and she can. She can beat her own sex here in this race, which I think at the pair of De Vegas, I would probably go Antonio De Vega over Manuela. But we're gonna go with Cabaletta here. She's coming in this. She's still unexposed. She's still learning the game. She's only had 2 runs. She's the least experienced in the race, but there will be more improvement as she goes further. So I think a 1 point win at 3-1 on Cabaletta here in the 240 at Haydock in the Lancashire Oaks. On to the other Haydock race I'm going to cover is the 315, which is the Old Newton Cup Handicap Class 2, over just shy of a mile and a half. Very, very hard race to get here, but I think the horse that should be doing well here, stepping up in trip, dropping down in trip, sorry, I do apologise, is Ranch Hand of Andrew Balding's here. Now, this is like 11.5 furlongs. So the last time we saw this horse over 11.5 furlongs was finishing 5th in the Derby Trial at Lingfield back in May last year. That was a whole race won by Anthony Van Dyke, as we know, went on to win the Derby next time out. So if we look at this horse's Haydock run last time, that was over mile 6 on soft ground when beating Trushan by 2 lengths. Now, the fact that he likes to be on the pace it gives me the interest in here that stepping back in trip could just be the ticket here. But he had Laffy beating that day quite comfortably. And Laffy's in this race this afternoon. So I would like to think, there could be a very big run here by Ranch Hand. Others who have taken the race, Deja and Scarlet Dragon take each other on again. Scarlet Dragon came out the better of the two last time out at Ascot in the Duke of Edinburgh, when Scarlet Dragon got the better of Deja by half a length. At the weights, there was Deja was given £1 to the winner that day. It will be very hard to concede weight to Scarlet Dragon again with £4. Now, when we look at the race here, Hughie Morrison's horse here, Tom Marquand rides, Lee Don Davy. Another horse that's coming out of that Duke of Edinburgh race, finishing 4th, staying on well. And again, no one that can probably want a little bit further than this. But I'm going to go for Ranch Hand here. I just think it could be a good bet here. Nicely bred by Dundon, as we know, who won the Melbourne Cup. So I think a 1-point win at 5-1 on Ranch Hand could be a very, very good bet here. That's 1-point win at 5-1 on the 315 Haydock. That's Ranch Hand for Andrew Balding. On to Sandown. Very good card here. We'll probably go through the first six races, I think, here. So we start off the 115, which is the Dragon Stakes listed event. And I'm very, very sweet on the filly here, Risk of Thunder of James Tate. Ryan Moore comes in for the ride. I think the form line is there if this filly's good enough. Won nicely at Ripon last time out in the Maidens Filly Stakes, 11-8 favourite, and basically it defied the odds. The odds was quite short, but won quite well. And if we look at he's back to his Newmarket run in the Filly Stakes back in 4th of June, that is quite a significant race. I mean, that was quite a strong race. I mean, you had the likes of give him a slip in there, the Circus, Star Cactus, Chiabella, Basha Palicha, Cella, sorry. So I think that was quite a strong maiden Filly Stakes. I would have liked Creative Force if he had gone here, but obviously he's been pulled out of the race. He was pulled out of Epsom's meeting yesterday also for the Woodcote Stakes. Others I can look against the possible winner here. We could probably look at Significantly of Carl Burks. Ben Curtis come to the ride. Last in at Doncaster when finishing behind a horse called Uncle Jumbo to a short head. That was over 6 furlongs. Drops back in trip. Could be interesting as the horse does like to be on the pace. But I think Risk of Thunder, she could be quite a little special horse here for James Tate for a bit of fun for the rest of the season. So I think she's quite short in the market, rightly so. And I'm going to have a go here. A 2-point win at 5-4 with bet 365. I mean, she is short as 6-5 with Paddy Power. But I think a 2-point win at 5-4 is a good bet, I think, here in the Dragon Stakes, the listed class event over 5 furlongs. On to the 150, which is the Coral Charge. We've got 12 go to the post here. Very, very hard race here. I mean, you've got the likes of Liberty Beach down the bottom now. You can't take away a superb Ascot run. Went by behind the Bullet Horse Potash. Just over 2 lengths behind Potash. Had Tis Marvellous back a length further. So, yeah, I mean, and she was out on her feet. Sorry, out on her feet at the end. So, I'm not really sure if this extra 10 yards is going to be favourable. Just depending on the fact that she's got plenty of speed, but she just doesn't get home at most of her races. At the top there, Caspian Prince, the old boy. This horse is just fantastic horse to have. Last season when at Newcastle, when landing the Gosford Park Cup, which was a Class 2 event over 5 furlongs on all weather, did that well, beating a very, very well backed Venturous of David Barron's. And we've got the speed horse in the race, which is Dakota Gold. This horse will go off quick. Did the same thing. He's got a lot to do to turn around the form with Tarbouche, who was just denied in the Achilles Stakes. So yeah, like Dakota Brave obviously has a tendency to blitz the field, but in the Achilles Stakes he left in his wake. It was the horse that we tipped up actually, El Astronaut. It's very hard for Dakota Gold to reverse that form with Tarbouche, especially on this good ground. So the horse I've gone for here is Charlie Appleby's horse here, William Buick on a Lazuli. Now I've really, really taken this ride by William Buick last time out when he won the Scurry Stakes. And the Scurry Stakes is a very, very good yardstick to win for this particular event. Won by 3.5 lengths, won comfortably, didn't look in trouble, and the wind operation has definitely done its job. So I think Lazuli here could definitely be the horse to obviously blitz this field, I think, under William Buick. I think a 2-point win, 11-4 with William Hill is a very, very good bet indeed. That's in the 150 at Sandown, the Coral Charge. On to the 225, which is the Coral Henry II Stakes, over the extended 2 miles. And we've only got 5 goes to post here, and this will probably be a very, very good clip, especially with Roger Charlton's horse in here, Withhold, who will now doubt try and get away from his field here. Last seen obviously in the Gold Cup when finishing 4th to Stradivarius, set a strong pace again with They Road. But the horse that I actually want to take out of the race is Charlie Appleby's horse again. William Buick comes in for the ride on Cross Counter. Obviously last time out, 3rd to Stradivarius. I mean, no one's going to beat Stradivarius that day. One of the best performances I've seen this season already, since the season's got back on track. Fantastic ride by Dettori, and I think probably I would put it down as probably the best race and the way he's won in his career. Cross Counter, again, is quite a global trotting horse, and again, I just think that he just could be too classy here, the Godolphin horse here for this lot. Mark Johnson's horse here, Summer Moon. Last seen finishing 3rd Ascot in the Ascot Stakes, behind Coeur de Leon. I'm not really strong fearing that race is strong enough for Summer Moon to even he would have to. I think you have to step up to win this race. I think that was over 2 mile free. He's dropped me back in trip, but I think Summer Moon could be an outstayer here, and I think he wants further than 2 mile. So, and so this will bring me on to cross counter. Like I said, I think the horses are very capable of winning this race. I mean, the Stradivarius form, and the fact that he holds quite comfortably from the Gold Cup, I think he deserves to be favourite. He's quite positive on the market, and he's quite positive on Betfair all night and this morning. So I think a 2-point win at 13-8 with Bet365. You can actually get 7-4 actually on this horse. Yeah, okay. We can actually get 7-4 with Ladbrokes here. So a 2-point win at 7-4 on cross counter to win the 225 at Sandown. On to the 3 o'clock. We have the Coral Challenge here. 11 go to post, over a mile. I think this is possibly between 3 horses in this race. Dark Vision of Mark Johnson's again, William Buick. He's got some cracking rides this afternoon, like I said. Willie Haggard's horse here, Montatham, and Roger Varian's horse here in Mutasami. We'll look at Mutasami first. Roger Varian's horse. Last seen at Kempton, when winning quite comfortably, a Class 4 handicap, over the mile. That was on slow surface, so he should adapt this quite well. The fact that this horse has not won on turf, it concerns me. 2 runs now, both wins have come at Kempton. Hasn't really diverted that form onto the turf as yet. Dark Vision and Montatham met each other at Ascot when they competed in the Royal Hunt Cup, with Dark Vision coming on top by 11.25. And that day, Montatham had to concede £11 at the weights. That form has been franked quite considerably with Pogo. Pogo came out and won the Midsummer Stakes at Windsor not so long ago. And I just think if the weight is right here, Montatham, the way he was, I think he was plugging on quite well. I think Dark Vision, it was an impressive run with Buick on board. There was £3 between them in the ratings that day, and this time around there's let's just double check here. There's £6. So obviously Dark Vision is rated £6 higher than Montatham. The thing is, can Dark Vision win again? That's the question. I think Montatham at the weights. This time around we've got Montatham gets £6. It's a big turnaround, considering he was given £11 last time. So that's a £17 turnaround for Montatham against Dark Vision for 3 3/4 lengths. That is, it should be significantly enough. Concerns, yes. I think in that race, last race, Dark Vision was staying on more powerfully than Montatham that day. But got 2 great jockeys in this race, William Buick and Jim Crowley, both at the top of the game this season. It'll be interesting to see who comes out top, and I'm going to give Jim Crowley the benefit of the doubt here, that he can turn that from around with that considerable weight on Montatham to beat Dark Vision here. There's been a lot of money around for Montatham this time around, and I think a 2-point win at 11-4 with Ladbrokes is quite a good bet for Montatham to turn it around this time around. On to the 3:35, which is obviously the big race of the day, which is the Coral Eclipse. As we know, there's going to be a serious pace on this race, especially with Gayev in the race. Again, William Buick, Charlie Appleby. Can he get the better of Nabel? Is a question and a half. We all know Gayev will just bound along in front. We'll probably get 1.5 miles the way this horse runs. But could this just be too short for Enable? I'm quite surprised that they've kept her in training as a 6-year-old. As we know, beaten by her in the Arc, just didn't get the 1.5 miles on the soft ground and the Arc de Triomphe. But if you look on the stats over the trip, Enable has run quite considerably quicker than Gaief, but Gaief is the improving horse in the race. Obviously, Enable is looking to be the first horse in 10 years to go back to back. And the fact that it's been very hard, because there's been no 6-year-old that's won this race in 10 years. So stats have never been broken, obviously. John Gosden's won this race prolifically times. He's had the last 2 winners, Roaring Lion and Enable. Also won this back in 2015 with Golden Horn, who actually won the Derby. So, yeah, she's the class act. Others in the race here, Regal Reality finished 3rd last year to Enable in this race in Japan. Wasn't that impressive really in the Prince of Wales Stakes. A lot of money came for the horse in the early stages, but the race was won by our horse, Lord North, who we put up at a big price, heavily backed, did the job well. Didn't really get the trip for me, Japan. I think Japan's, for me, on the pedigree, is by Galileo, so it probably was a step up in trip. Japan for me is probably, I would like to see this horse in the St. Ledger, if I'm realistic. I mean, I think he could be a stayer, Japan. I just think he's been running over shorter trips. That's all wrong for him. He's well bred by Galileo, and I think this horse could definitely do with a step up. I mean, don't get me wrong, he was 4th in the arc behind Enable. He was 2 lengths behind Enable that day when getting £3 at the weights. This time around, giving Enable £3, it's just not a formality really. It's going to be a huge ask for Japan to change that form around. He would have to step up at least a good £3 or £4 for me to win this race, probably more. I was against the field. Bangkok, I just couldn't have Andrew Balding's horse. Deirdre, yeah, I like the French horse. Be honest, but we'll have to step up again, Deirdre. I mean, she's asking a lot from her. So the question again, as I said, is Enable going to be good enough as a 6-year-old to come out of training? Is Frankie going to do what we know he does best, and keep on the girth of Gaief here? Don't let him get a too far rope. And if he stays within 2 lengths of Gaief, she will absolutely eat him up. I'm pretty sure that she will go away and win this. And I'm gonna, you got to think ahead of your heart. Do we go with the younger against the older? As the stats go on the age, it's not really much significance on the age. I mean, there's no 3-year-olds in this time around. So I mean, you're probably looking at the 5-year-olds here mainly here if you're going to go for a horse against Enable. She goes well fresh, Enable. We know that already. As I said, Gaief has done nothing wrong so far on both starts, and was quite impressive last time out. William Butte will have to try and run the wind out of Enable. He needs to get a big enough lead to not enable to be there. But I think Dettori knows what he's doing here. He'll sit on the girth of Gaief. He won't even get away at all. And I think Enable will come past him. And you'll hear the roar as she does. And I think you can get 11 to 10, 6 to 5. The good best price is 6 to 5. But Gaief is strong on exchanges against her, as is Regal Reality. There's been a bit of money around for that horse as well. But obviously, Gaief is very, very strong on exchanges over Enable, and she can actually win this race. I want to go with my head and say, with my heart, I say, Enable's, she's too good for this field. But my head is saying that Gaief is a new kid on the block here, and could definitely, put the sting out of Enable and get into him, and especially on this softening ground. So I'm gonna take a bold move here, even though My philosophy in this race is not waffling on here, but you have to understand that you have to read this horse. These two horses right. We know Gayef will go off at a very, very high rate of knots. The Tory will hold the Enable up, probably maybe 2 or 3 back in the field, maybe at the back. Yeah, bring her through 3 furlongs to go. Gayef by then will probably be 4 or 5 lengths clear. It's down to Enable to run him down, and can she do it on this ground? It's good ground. I think I'm going to have to go with my head here. I think Gayef could be the real deal here with Charlie Appleby. And even though we all want to see, the great Enable come into the winning enclosure, the Tory jump, the elations from winning again, Group 1. But I think her target is obviously, I think the Arc this year, if she goes. And she's got a tough Arc this year. There's some good horses going in there this year. I think it's stronger than last year. So I'm going to go have a 2-point win here at 5-2 on Gayef. Yeah, we bet 365 to win the Coral Eclipse this time around. On to the 405, which is the Coral Garter Stake, which is a listed event over just shy of 1.25 miles. 7 to go to the post, and I'm in the French corner here. Now, there hasn't been many French runners in this race. In fact, I went through the whole last 10 years of stats of this race. There's only ever been 1 French runner, and that horse won. Now, we have to go back until 2013, that was, when we only had, this is the only French runner that's actually competed in this race. The fact that Andre Faber has brought Magna Colors over is very interesting indeed. Again, you book that man, William Buick. If we look at the horse's form, last seen on the 10th of June this year when winning the listed stakes, the D Montetrot over at France in Chantilly by a short head. And he beat a very good yardstick in Andre Faber's stablemate, Persian King, who was very well fancied, 4-7 favourite that day to win the race. If you're beating Persian King, you've got to have a serious one. That was only over a mile on soft ground, good soft ground. But it was the way this horse was finishing the race, far, far better, quite impressive. And I would like to think that Andre Faber has not brought this horse over just for a trip out to Sandown. I was in a race. Got John Gosling is still looking for his first win in this race. Saddle's Global Giant here. 11 for a second favourite, I think. Last time seen winning at Wolverhampton, which was a conditions race, very small field over this trip. And did it well. We won clearly under Rob Havlin. Didn't do nothing wrong. 8-13 favourite and beat a pretty good yardstick in Isaac Sound. So yeah, you have to take on gospel that this horse is going to be good enough. John Gosling's other runner here is Dubai Warrior, the weakest of the pair in the market. And I'm just a bit concerned that it's the Bangkok form. He beats Bangkok by 3 lengths that day. And, obviously Bangkok goes in the Coral Eclipse, which is probably for making the numbers up. But Dubai Warrior can't go down. Detroit, obviously took the mounts, won it well enough, just by under 4 lengths. That was a Winter Derby, by the way, at Lingfield that he won. And won it pretty well. But then again, obviously, Detroit's got a fantastic record in the race. But it's interesting that Detroit decided to ride Global Gent over Dubai Warrior in this race. Andrew Baldwin's horse here, Fox Champion. Very disappointed run, I thought, with behind Circus Maximus and the Queen Anne, finishing 10th. What do we take at the race here? Again, we'd have to seriously step up here. It's going up Got up in trip this afternoon to mile and a quarter. It's been there and done it. Won at Newbury last year. When beating a horse called Pondus of James Fanshawe in the Bet365 Stakes, so this is an event over a mile and a quarter on soft ground. And I can see why the money's come for this horse this morning, Fox Champion, purely on the fact that obviously they think he's pretty useful still, Balding. But I'm going to stick my neck out with the French horse here. Just purely the fact that they don't send many over here for this race. They must fancy their chances here. And I think a 1 point win at 4-1 with Bet365 is the bet for me to go in this 405 in the Coral Gala Stakes listed event at Sandown. On to the 435 at Sandown, which I do believe is not televised on TV. But I'm going to make this horse my nap. I still think this horse improved with Mark Johnston. Joe Fanning takes a ride, and that's Tulip Fields. I really do think this filly is in her element at the moment. She's not taking much on here. I think she's won both her runs this season in small fields. And I think the way she went about beating Troublecraft last time out by 3 lengths, Andrew Balding's horse, in a class 3 at Newmarket was quite impressive. That was a mile and a half on good to soft ground. Obviously, you got to say, stepping back in trips is it going to be damaging? But no, she's won over this trip on Goodwood on good ground when taking a class 4 race, and did that well enough to suggest that Mark Johnston's horse could definitely be going the right way here. And again, in this small field, horse up against her. Nothing really stands out for me, really. I suppose the bottom weight here, Marcus Trigoni's horse here, Holly Doyle on Asiaf. Holly's riding very well at the moment. Last seen back in the 14th of June when winning a Class 5 Novices Stakes over this trip. And just held on by half an hour at 10-11 favourite. Made hard work of it. Made very, very hard work under Jim Crowley at Goodwood. So I think Tulip Fields is my nap of the day here. Lovely filly by Golden Horn. You can get 2-1 Bet365, 15-8 generally. So I think a 3 point win nap at 2-1 here, Bet365 and Tulip Fields in a 435 at Sandown. So now we're going to head off to Cork. Like I said, we've got plenty of races here this afternoon. Spend a bit of money. We're in profit already. We're going to take the first race here, which is the 340 at Cork, which is a fillies and mares. It's the Mimosa Stakes, which is a listed event over 6 furlongs. It's a very, very hard race to pinpoint here. I couldn't really put my stamp on it, my authority. I thought this horse was going to run well, but I think this Peace Charter of Gur Lyons, nice filly by Warfront, could run very, very well here. Last seen running over at Leopardstown in a fillies trials Group 3, so she drops back in trip into 7 furlongs to 6 furlongs and drops in class, and didn't really get going. This horse will get a mile in time. I just think it's quite interesting why they're stepping this horse back to 6 furlongs, but obviously she missed the break last time. If she's on point here on this good ground, she could definitely give a very, very good race here, this Peace Charter. The likely favourite here is going to be John Stack's filly. Chris Hayes come for the ride on You're So Beautiful. Last seen at Nace when just denied by Lady Penelope, who she takes on again here, off level weights to a length and a quarter. She was matching the winner inside the final furlong, but just outpointed in the final stages by Joseph O'Brien's horse. This time around, she'll get plenty of weight here. She'll get £3. She'll get a length in hand here, but she still has a little bit to find, I think, with Lady Penelope on that form. So this is where I'm going to go here. Before I do, another horse here is Johnny Murtaugh's horse, which is another horse quite interesting here. It's Pronouncement. Yeah, She was last seen at Naas back on the 24th of June when winning by a neck in a fillies maiden at Naas over 6 furlongs on good to soft ground. The fact that the way this horse finished was quite impressive. I mean, pressed close home, was going away. The £3 claimer Cohen was very, very valuable on the day. Considered she was getting weight from the runner-up, Nabli Antelbio. But this time around, she's very, very capable of running a big race here. So I won't put her out of the mix in, especially with Johnny Murtagh doing quite well at the moment. He's picking up a few winners for a stable that's been quiet for the last couple of seasons. So I think she could be the value in the race here, pronouncement. And that's where my money's going to go here. I'm going to go a half a point each way. Even though I do think we could see a big run from Peace Charter of Girl Lion, but I just think Johnny Murtagh's horse could run very well here, pronouncement. And I think a half a point each way at 7-1 with bet 365 is a credible bet, especially with the 10 go to post. You know, I would like to see this filly in the mix at the end, at the business end. On the other race at Cork we're covering is the 5:15, the Munster Oaks Stakes, which is a Group 3 event over 1.5 miles. I don't know why they seem to think that Search for a Song here, why she's so short in the market. I mean, I wasn't really taken with her run in the Magna Gracia Stakes to Group 2. Yes, she's dropping down trip. She's dropping down in class but up in trip. She didn't really impress me. She looked very, very one pace on the quick ground. I mean, maybe this easing ground is going to help her a bit. She's won on good ground at York last year when taking the Henry Cecil Gaultier Stakes. She stays further in this. She's won over further in this. But I just think she will have to find her best foot forward here. She hasn't shown to me that she has come on from a juvenile, from a 3-year-old status. Last horse I put up last time was Mark Halford's horse here, Hamarina. Again, very disappointed with this horse. Should have won at the Curragh last time out when beaten 4.5 lengths to Magic Wand. She ran no collar race at all. And I was quite disappointed that she didn't take on Magic Wand in the race. Then you've got Aidan O'Brien here. Wayne Lawson takes the ride on Snow. Snow's run here was beaten half length to one voice in the Blue Wing Stakes, the Group 2 fillies over 1.25 miles last time out. And I was more taken with the horse that finished third in the race. That's Girl Lion's horse, Yakazeni. I think she can turn that form around with Snow. Girl Lion's horse here, obviously she was finished behind Snow last time out, but her maiden was quite impressive when she won it over a mile. And I think she beat quite a good field there. She had Snow beating that way. The thing about it is that Snow has obviously reversed that form with Yakazeni already. So that is where that's the form line is Snow and Yakazeni here. Now the fact that they're off level weights and the fact that Snow has reversed that form from when they met in the maiden, you have to like to think that Snow is the filly that is going to step up here over this 1.5-mile trip, especially being by Galileo. The thing about Yakazeni's favourite is that she's by Maxios, which she will like the ground. However, Wayne Lawden's in absolutely blistering form this year already. He's bagging the winners in. Probably, the last 5 weeks. I mean, I can't believe how many. I'll tell you actually. This guy's the last 14 days. Yeah, he's had 57 rides and he's had 9 winners and 8 placed runs. It's only 13, it's only like 16%, but it's a credible 16%. If you look at Colin Keane's stats the last 2 weeks, much lower, about 4% lower. and a bigger deficit on the point market. So I'm going to go for Snow here, that she can hold that form of Yaxeni, even though I have had some info about Yaxeni that she has come on from that run, and she will relish going this distance. But whether she can reverse that form again with Snow is another question. So I'm going to take on Search for the Song as well. I think we go 1 point win at 7-2, bet 365 and Snow in the 5.15 at Cork in the Munster Oaks Stakes. I'm just going to check if we've got anything else in this over here that we're going to cover. Oh yeah, okay. One at Fairyhouse, 5:30, which is a Group 3 event, which is the Ballycora Stakes. 11 go to post. I haven't really looked in depth into this race, but I was, obviously, I think now this horse has got this win on the board. I'm hoping Joseph O'Brien's horse can step forward again, and that's Speaking Colours. As you know, we put it up last time when it ran last Sunday. I think it was last Sunday. Just confirm that. Yeah, last Sunday. We had a very good day, but just holding on. Again, he takes a couple of horses on in this race. I don't know if Forever in Dreams is here. Obviously, Smash Williams is here again. I just think Speaking Colours never does the same race twice. I just wonder if it's a penalty that he's got there. He come off 110, so he's come into this without a penalty, but he does have to give weights all round, which is a little bit concerned, carrying 10 stone 2 in this very not testing ground, but a very soft ground at Fairyhouse. It's a very, very hard track to win on. So I'm going to look for a bit of value around the race for me. And I think the value in this race is the one down the bottom here, Girl Lion's horse here in Soul Search. Now, you can't be wrong not to be taken the way that this horse won its maiden. Looked beaten 2 furlongs out and just absolutely flew home. Yeah, it was 2 to 5 favourite to win the race, but it was the way he finished off the race over 7 furlongs over this trip on this ground. This horse will get a mile comfortably. So I think 6 to 1 is a very good each way bet for this horse on Soul Search. Conor Hoban coming in for the ride. I think 1 point each way at 6 to 1 with Bet Victor. 1 point each way at 6 to 1 Bet Victor. I think definitely this filly could have a very, very good chance here. That's the UK and Irish racing covered. Sorry. We're going to head over to France now. There's 2 races significantly I'm going to take on here, which is at Chantilly, which is the 210, which is the Prix du Jockey Club Group 1. Overextending mile and a quarter. Group 1, sorry, as I said. And I just cannot get away here from the one down the bottom in Palo Alto. It's really impressed the way this horse won last time out at Longchamp when winning the Group 3 Prix La Force, and did it very well indeed. 9 4 for 8 to do so under Maxime Goujon. Great jockey. I just think he could just have that little bit of class about him to win this race here. We'll have to look at the rest of the field here. It is a big field. Mishriff, John Gosling's horse here. Last year at Newmarket on the Guineas weekend when landing in Newmarket Stakes. This is an event over on this ground on good to firm ground. Concern again is a soft ground. France tends to go very soft, but he has won on heavy ground. Wow! In fact, he won his maiden by 10 lengths on soft ground. It's a heavy ground. That's a wow factor, that, isn't it? Obviously, the horse that's all the rage in this race is Andre Faber's horse here, Victor Ludorum. Yeah, she's coming out of this off the back of winning the French Guineas, the French Guineas there, and we're going to have to see how good this horse is. You know, Andre Faber's turned around and said that he's not denying it, that he's probably one of the best horses he's trained for many years. You know, that's quite big coming from a man of his stature. O'Brien's got one in this race here, Fort Myers. This is quite a big prize of 40 to 1. I mean, last year at the Curragh in the Irish 1,000 Guineas, when finishing 9th, a long way down behind Siskin. But I think a 40 to 1 is a huge prize, but obviously, yeah, he would have to step up quite a lot. Jean Rouget's horse here, Port, pronounce this correctly, Port Guillaume. Again, another horse that you cannot take out lightly. Beat Gold Trip last time out in the Tourbillon Stakes over an extended mile and a quarter at St Claude. But then again, we have to step up. I think the horse still got really beat for me or get close to his Palo Alto. I mean, obviously, if Victor Ledordum is on the A game, this Shamadal colt, he could, make this a rout. But from stall 1, big concern indeed. It's not very easy to win from stall 1 at Chantilly, that's for sure. So I think Palo Alto is going to get the best, obviously the better of the run. Come out of stall 9. He had plenty of time to get plenty of cover, and I think he'll get a good run on the Maxime Goujon. And at a reasonable price as well. I mean, we can get 6 to 1 on this horse. I mean, Victor Lourdem is 13 to 8 favourite. And at 6 to 1, I mean, I'd like to think Palo Alto and Mishriff could run big races here, especially Mishriff on this ground. I mean, what's the draw for Mishriff? Mishriff's got draw 3, which is a little bit difficult. That's why I think I've gone more towards Palo Alto purely on draw. He's got stall 9, so he'll get plenty of cover and he'll obviously be able to get more in the race. Now we're going to go on to the other Group 1 of the day, which is the Pre-DDIN. Sorry about that, guys. I've just interrupted you. So again, as I was saying, we're under 255 at Chantilly, the Pre-DIN. And I'm definitely in the corner here on one horse and one horse only. And this is Alpine Star of Jessica Harrison's horse. I mean, you cannot be taken away the way this horse won at Ascot. She was impressive when winning by 4.5 lengths when taking the Coronation Stakes. Cloak of Spirits was back in 5th, who I thought ran incredibly very well yesterday. Quadrilateral, obviously, is a horse that will obviously come on from where she is. I think she's going to be very, very hard to beat at Alpine Star. I think she's got her ground. She's by Sea the Moon. She'll get the trip. She's a useful type, and a useful type as because since she's got a Group 1 on her belt, and she's definitely trained on, which is a good thing. She's trained on definitely, from her 2-year-old juvenile status to come out and win a Group 1, and she's lovely. She's lovely filly there, and nicely bred as well. Others in the race, I suppose you could look at Peaceful, Ada O'Brien's horse here by Galileo. She'll get the trip. She was last seen obviously winning the 1,000 Guineas at the Curragh, but I thought it was a very, very weak 1,000 Guineas myself, and I think she would have to step up to win this kind of calibre of a race. So I think Alpine Star in the 255 at Chantilly, I think I've waffled on enough. I think she's the star in this race, and I think at 2-point win at 11-4 with Nab Brooks on Alpine Star, and that's a 255 at Chantilly, which is the Pre-DN. So I've been rattling on now. We're on 55 minutes nearly. I'll quickly go over selections. You already know the 2 Chantilly horses, which is 255, which is 2-point win at 11-4 on Alpine Star, and a 2-10 at Chantilly, which is a 1 point each way at 6-1 on Pale Alto. On to that's 2 French horses, by the way. We'll quickly go over to English and Irish racing selections, which was the first one at Haydock, which is the Group 2, the 240 Lancashire Oaks. And again, I'm going for a 1 point win at 3-1 on Cavaletta, the filly. And then the Old Newton Cup, which is done for 3:15 at Haydock. And I'm going to go a 1 point win now on Ranch Hand at 5-1. That's the 2 selections at Haydock. Down to Sandown, top to bottom. The 1:15, 2 point win at 5-4 on Risk of Thunder in the 1:15. In the 1:50, these are all at Sandown, by the way. I'm having a 2 point win on Lazuli at 11-4 with William Hill. 2:25. Again, 2 point win at 7-4 with Ladbrokes on Cross Counter. In the 3 o'clock, 1 point win at 11-4 with Ladbrokes on Montatham. In the 3:35 at Sandown, I'm on a 2 point win here on Gayef at 5-2 with Bet365. In the 4:05 here, I'm on a 1 point win of 4-1 on Magna Cause. In the 4:35, my nap of the day was a 3 point win on Tulip Fields at 2-1 Bet365. And that's the Sandown card. Cork, the selection here is in the 340, which is the Minnesota Stakes. This is a half a point each way on pronouncement at 365 at 7-1 pronouncement in the 240 at Cork. On to the 5:15 at Cork, which is the Munster Oaks. I'm having a 1 point win at 7-2 on Snow in the Munster Oaks. And the final selections will come over at Fairyhouse, which will be the 5:30, the Bannercross Stakes, Group 3. And I'm on a 1 point win at 5-1 on Soul Search in that race, in the 5:30 at Fairyhouse. So that is the selections covered for the whole meeting. Plenty of racing, plenty of selections. We're spending some money here, guys, spending some money. And over £100 up in profit at the moment. We don't want to get rid of that. I would like to see at least a few winners again on a Sunday, like we did last week. Last week was fantastic, 62% strike rate. You couldn't ask for more than that. So that's it. Be lucky. Be safe. This is On the Level Racing Channel, signing out.